heart beats just a little faster right now, doesn't it? As they stand alone right now. No cornermen. They're just ready to make the ring walk for the biggest fight that boxing can make.
Yes, sir, Black Coast Coast is your boy Shadow Ghost. Keep your hands up, keep your chin tucked, man. Hit that notification bell for upcoming content for Shadow Ghost 81. And man, oh man, listen, Jamel Herring and Shakur Stevenson is in advanced talks for a fight later on in the fourth quarter of this year. And man, it's interesting, man, because it's heating up. Because look, man, boxing, we all know boxing is alive this year. But one thing I want to talk about real quick is, you know, a lot of people talk about the 135-pound division, the welterweight division, 147. But the one thing I noticed, bro, let's talk about this 130-pound division, man. First, let's talk about this fight real quick. You know, I got to give props to Shakur for one thing. You know, Shakur Stevenson has a pretty good relationship with Jamel Herring. Crawford's camp and Jamel Herring, they all train together and stuff like that, and we all know that Shakur Stevenson has a relationship with Crawford and stuff like that, so they're technically friends or whatever. But you know, sometimes when there's business involved, you got to take care of business first. By the way, my guy Chris Colbert fought last night. I made a video about that. He has the WBA intern belt, right? And when he was asked about that belt, you know, he said, look, I don't even consider that a real belt. By the way, look, all these belts, if it gets a little complicated, I'm not talking to the major boxing fans right now. I'm talking to if there is a person that's trying to learn boxing. And I don't like to use the word casual. Sometimes I will use it, but you know, there's a lot of these belts. We have these major belts, and then we have like what some people call these baby belts. They're intern belts. They're not the major belts. That's why when Gervonta Tank Davis moved up to 140, a lot of people had an issue with Leonard Ellerbe saying that Josh Taylor brings nothing to the table, because Josh Taylor is the undisputed champion. He beat Regis Prograis in a tournament for the IBF, and then he also beat Jose Ramirez, and he unified and he was undisputed. And Gervonta Tank Davis, he moved up and got the WBA belt, but it's considered a baby belt. But nonetheless, he got a belt. And by the way, Tank to me is very, very special. I always call out, and I want to see him fight the best. Now, of course, Stevenson is in a similar situation, right? I go back to Chris Colbert real quick, because Chris Colbert has a WBA intern belt, whereas at 130, which Tank fights at 130, he has the WBA belt. Now, Chris Colbert is like, look, the belt that I have, I don't even consider it a real belt. You know, I consider myself a regular fighter. I know I could do better. I want that belt. And it's the same thing that's going on with Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson has the WBO intern belt, and he's like, nah, this isn't enough, man. I don't consider this a belt. So when Herring beat Frampton for that WBO belt, he said, look, I want that belt. I know you're my friend or whatever. It is what it is. Business first, bro. I need to come get that. But it ain't just Herring. He also called out Oscar Valdez for that WBC belt. But what I want to do, bro, is listen. I was looking at this weight division, the classic fights that could be made in this division. And let's go through the killers in this division, bro. Let's start off with Miguel Berchelt. Miguel Berchelt, 37 and 2. All right, and yes, he lost to Oscar Valdez, but let's not get it twisted, bro. This guy, bro, he's 37 with 2 losses. Okay, he stopped 33 of his opponents. All right. He has an 89% knockout ratio, okay? Out of his 2 losses, he's been stopped 2 times. We already know the devastating knockout that he lost to Oscar Valdez. All right, but this guy is a dangerous puncher, bro. He's not really a knockout puncher per se, as like one punch knockout, but it's a barrage of punches, and he's relentless. He keeps coming at you. But let's not get it twisted. This guy is a dangerous man in this division. Moving forward, bro, we have Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz, bro, is 31 and 1. Now, Jojo Diaz, right, out of his 31 wins, he stopped 15 of his opponents, right? So his knockout ratio is 48%, all right? He's got 1 loss and one draw. Okay, his last fight was against Rakhimov. I think I'm pronouncing this guy's name wrong. But Jojo Diaz he's a southpaw. He's fast. He's swift. He's got pretty good defense. He doesn't have like a lot of pop, but I would say like after his accumulation of punches can get to you, because he is kind of accurate. He's very accurate, and he throws a lot of punches depending on what type of shape that he comes in. That's the one thing I would say about Jojo Diaz. He's one of those fighters where you got to see, like, if he has a good training camp, then he's a very dangerous fighter. But moving on. I'm going to hurry up and throw this guy in there real quick. Rakimov, this is the guy. He's 15-0 with 1 draw. That 1 draw came from Jojo Diaz. You can see that fight highlights, or if you have the zone, that was actually a very good fight. This guy, like I said, he's 15-0 with 1 draw. He's got an 80% knockout ratio. So I don't know really too much of him because I've only seen a couple fights with him. The main fight that I've seen with him is Jojo Diaz, but I don't want to exclude him because he is one of the top guys in this division. Now I'm going to include Tevin Farmer real quick, okay? Now I'm only going to include him because I feel like I still think he could be a force to be reckoned with in this division, depending on where his mindset is at. You know, he's 30-5 with 1 draw. He's only got a 20% knockout ratio. By the way, when I mention knockout ratio, you don't have to have a high knockout ratio. I just include it when I'm talking about a lot of guys in a division. Out of his 5 losses, he's only been stopped 2 times. But like I said, speaking about the knockout ratio, you could be a great boxer, bro. You don't need to knock everybody out. You could win on points. You could outbox somebody. You could stick and move. This is boxing. And so the thing is with Tevin Farmer is that in his last fight, I think it was with Jojo Diaz, he was just, I'm not sure, it was a unanimous decision. I'm not sure where his head is at. And he's at an age where he's 30 years old. And I feel like, I'm not sure where his head is at. Like, is he that dedicated to his craft right now? And I'm never going to question any man's character. I respect anybody that puts on gloves. But I want to include him in the list because I know people have bounced back in their careers, and I want to see where he is in his next fight. So I just want to throw his name out there. But because there are a lot of young guys that are moving up, and not just this weight class, but in all around in boxing, you know, you got these young guns that are coming up out of nowhere. You got to stay on your game, bro. And so young guys like moving along, my guy Chris Colbert. Y'all know I fucks with Chris Colbert from day one supporter. Chris Colbert, he's the WBA intern champion, and he's 16-0. And by the way, his knockout ratio is only 38%. He does not have dynamite in his hands. And I criticize Colbert a lot. And I'm that type of fan or friend that I may criticize you, but it's not because I'm a hater. It's because I want the best for you. I know that you could do a lot better. I expect the best out of you. The one thing about Colbert is he's very dangerous. He's got an automatic jab. His jab is on point. Okay, he will box the shit out of you. He's got high IQ. This guy's stamina is off the charts. Okay, this guy has very, very good conditioning. His last fight yesterday against King Tug, he was standing in between rounds. By the way, he fought King Tug. Yes, he was a 126 pounder moving up to 130, but he was a powerful puncher. He even admitted he was a powerful puncher, and he only lost to Gary Russell Jr. And in between rounds, Chris Colbert got stunned earlier in the fight. And even with all that going on, and with all the punches that he was throwing, he's standing in between rounds, did not sit on the stool. I'm not sure if he even did sit on the stool. Maybe he did 1 round or so. I'm not even sure, but it just goes to show you the conditioning that Chris Colbert has. And people were getting on him because he stepped on the scale 0.6 over. Okay, so for a guy that stepped on the scale 0.6 over, he came back 20 minutes later, made weight, and was able to still stand in between rounds. This guy's stamina is off the charts. That's my guy. I'm going to support him. It is what it is. But let's move along now. Let's go to Eddie Reynoso and Canelo's camp. You want to pay day. Oscar Valdez, WBC super featherweight champion. If you don't know who this guy is, bro, you should, bro. Alright, this guy's 30 years old. This guy is 29-0 with 23 knockouts, bro. Alright, this guy has a 79% knockout ratio. Alright, this guy can box, and this guy can knock you out, bro. Now, matter of fact, let's go to this knockout by Miguel Berchelt, bro. This was, to me, a KO candidate of the year, if not the knockout of the year, if not one of the best knockouts I've ever seen. Look, when Roy Jones got knocked out, one of my favorite fighters ever, by the way, when Roy Jones got knocked out, I was scared. I was nervous, bro. I'm like, bro, this guy's not getting up. And there was a couple times that happened to Roy. This is like one of those situations where I've seen a guy, Berchelt was on the floor for a long period of time. And just as a boxing fan, you know, I was just concerned, like, bro, is this guy getting up? Because, you know, boxing is not a game. You could die in that ring. I don't care who you go for in this 130-pound division. I don't care who your favorite guy is, or even if you have a favorite guy. It could be Colbert, it could be Tank, it could be Shakur, it could be Herring, it could be Berchelt, it could be any one of these guys. Valdez is the dark horse in this division. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm saying he's the dark horse because he can fight going backwards. That hook that he throws, he could throw it at any time. A fighter that can fight going backwards is a very dangerous fighter. That's why they tell you all the time, never go backwards. You're supposed to circle. You're supposed to circle a guy. What do they call that? Ring generalship, ring IQ. This is the reason why I was getting on my guy Chris Colbert yesterday, because I feel like sometimes he has this tendency when he gets hit, he'll sit there and he forgets that he has good defense. He'll leave his hands down, and sometimes he does this little turtle shell thing and he'll leap forward with a hook. And it's the same thing that's with Burchell, and that's how he got caught. And like I said, I just feel like he's a dangerous opponent for any one of these guys. But any one of these guys, all these guys are elite in this division, and that's why they are where they are. But let's move right along to Jamel Herring. Jamel Herring is the WBO Junior Lightweight Champion. He's 23-2. And he's got a 48% knockout ratio. Out of his 2 losses, he's only been stopped 1 time. He also sent Frampton into retirement. I think that was his best fight that I've ever seen him in. Also the best condition I've ever seen him in. We also cannot forget and give him a shout out. He is a United States Marine. He served our country. Salute to him. I put it like this. He's a southpaw. Guy has a good jab. He doesn't have devastating power. But I just say, like, he's one of those fighters that does like everything good. He does everything good, if that makes any sense. If there's any weakness that I've seen him have in the past, it's basically he's injury prone and his defense is probably not the best, but he's a champion, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight Shakur Stevenson. And that's who we are moving on to next. We are moving on to Shakur Stevenson. He is 16-0. He's 24 years old. He has a 50% knockout ratio. He's very technical. I think we all know who he is. You know, I'm from Paterson, New Jersey. He's from Newark, New Jersey, so he's around my way. You know, he's very, let me tell you something, this kid is ahead of his years. And even though my guy is Colbert, I even said it yesterday, Colbert that I saw yesterday, I believe that Shakur Stevenson, the one that I saw a couple weeks ago, would have beat Colbert last night. Although I do believe that if they do fight, I'm still gonna pick Colbert. I think that Colbert would edge it out. I just think he would be a little bit aggressiveness, and I think that he would rise to the occasion. Although, man, Shakur is a beast, bro. All these guys are elite, man. By the way, these guys, I mean, Shakur Stevenson, his defense is just insane. It's almost like a baby Pernell Whitaker in a way. He's very talented. He does have some power. These guys, they are men and they are growing. They are developing their man strength. All these guys, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, a lot of them are the guys that somewhat don't have so much power. They are getting power because they're growing and they're moving up in weight. And Shakur Stevenson, he is developing power. And look, he's an all-around fighter. I mean, this kid has a great jab, and let me tell you something, he goes to the body like crazy. If you've ever seen him, he goes to the body and then he goes upstairs, then he goes right back down to the body. And I mean, if you ever seen him, from the moment that bell starts, he's going to your body. So you best protect your body when you fight this guy, and you best believe by the 3rd or 4th round that your ribs are going to be hurting if you're fighting Shakur Stevenson. And let's move on to the guy that needs no introduction, Gervonta Tank Davis, 25-0, WBA World Super Lightweight Champion. And I mean, look, man, this guy has a 96% knockout ratio. This guy is special. He's called Tank for a reason, because the guy can crack and he will walk right through you. And he's shown that he can carry his power all the way up to the 140-pound division. Whether you question his resume or not, you got to give this guy his flowers. I do. I give all these guys their roses, and it is what it is, man. Listen, tell me what y'all think in the comments, man. I mean, look, I think this is becoming the hottest division behind the 135, maybe. And look, they're all great divisions to me, man. Look, I'm a boxing fan. I hope that there's nothing happens between the Shakur Stevenson and Herring fight. That's just another great fight. Tell me who you think wins that fight. If I had to make a prediction on that fight, I would say Shakur would be going to the body early. Also, Herring is injury prone. I'd have to see how his training camp goes. And I would just see Shakur winning by decision. I don't see really anybody getting knocked out in this fight. I really don't. But with that, man, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I feel like the 130-pound division, man, is a crazy division right now. Matter of fact, all of boxing is, bro. I just love boxing, so I think I could look at every weight class and be like, man, you know, yeah, there is one or two that I could be like, yeah, it's looking kind of iffy right there. But, I mean, to me, every weight class is popping right now, man. So it is what it is, man. This is Shadow Ghost, and until next time, I'm signing off.